Hi, welcome. Today we're going to be making sourdough. Last night, so I fed my starter last night at about 9 o'clock. And so I started with 150 grams of starter. And what I did was I did a 1 to 1 to 1 ratio. So I had 150 grams of starter, I added 150 grams of flour, and then I added 150 grams of water. Mix it all together. Now you see this line on the jar. That is where my starter finished when I mixed it, so that's where it was. When you set it in a lighted area or in a warm area, it will activate and it'll bubble up like it has, and when it doubles in size, that's when your starter is active, so that's when you know you can use it. So this is doubled, so we're going to start making our bread. So your bread recipe calls for 275 grams of active starter, so you'll need a food scale and a large bowl. Try to use a glass bowl, because if you use a metal bowl, it'll deactivate the enzymes within the starter and your bread may not rise as well. So I always use a glass bowl. So what I do is I start with my bowl on, I tare the weight. This is not my setup, so we're at family Christmas, so it may take me a second here. And you want to make sure it's in grams, so everything is measured in grams. So right now my bowl reads, where am I going to clear this? There you go. Now it reads 0 grams. So what you're going to do is you're going to add 275 grams of your starter, which is on your recipe that I gave you. So then once you do that, you're going to add 735 grams of warm water. So I'm going to tare that again, so it's 0. So warm water, you need it to be anywhere from 96 to 98 degrees. If it's too hot, again, it'll deactivate those enzymes and you don't want that. So just be cautious of that. It's 735. We got a little too much, so I'm just going to spoon a little bit out. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're just going to whisk all that together, and you're going to whisk it until the sourdough starter is dissolved, and it should get really bubbly. So you can see the bubbles start to form. Oop, it's a messy job. Comes with the territory. Okay, once that's all whisked, you see the bubbles formed. What I do, so this is kind of a cheat code, I feel like it rises better if you let this sit for just 5 minutes or so before you add the flour. So we'll let this sit for 5 minutes and then we'll add the flour and then we'll go from there. Okay, so while our water and sourdough starter mixture is sitting for a little bit, I just want to explain this. So I use 275 grams of this 450 grams. So basically what I'll do is I will just subtract 275 from 450, and that's what I have left in the jar. I'll rewrite that measurement on top and I'll erase my line here, and then the next time I feed it, I'll feed it a 1 to 1 to 1 ratio with my starter, flour, and water. And that's it. And you can store this in the fridge. So like now I probably won't feed this again for a week, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the lid on it, rewrite the measurement on top, erase my marker line, and stick it in the fridge for a week. When I go to make my bread again next week, I'll bring it back out and I'll go the 1 to 1 to 1 ratio to feed it. Okay, so now we have our flour, our water, and our starter mixture, and it's sat for a couple minutes. So what we'll do is we'll add 1,000 grams of starter. Again, this is just follow your recipe. So you just pour it in there. It's a lot of flour, so don't be shocked. Almost there. 2 more grams, and we are there. So then what you'll do is, again, something that's not metal, you'll take it and you'll stir it all together. And this takes a couple of minutes, but what you're going to do is you're going to stir it until all the flour is dissolved and you get like a sticky, clumpy mixture.
No, thank you. We got it.
And you'll just make sure you hit the bottom, pick it up, and move it over so it gets all the flour mixed in. And you'll scoop off your spatula. Then what you'll do is you will take a rag. So I'm gonna go grab a rag. You're gonna take a rag, get it damp with some warm water, and you're gonna lay it over the top of your bowl, and you're gonna let that sit for 30 minutes to an hour. Then you'll come back, you'll add your salt, and we'll go from there. Okay, so it's been about 45 minutes, and now what we're gonna do is we're going to add our salt into the mixture. So you'll take your bowl, gonna make sure it's tiered. Maybe, there it is, okay. And you're gonna add 24 grams of salt. So again, this is from your recipe, so just follow that. It's hard when there we go. Okay, and once you get that in, this is when it gets really, really messy. So you wanna roll up your sleeves, take off any jewelry. It says to pinch it in, so what I do is I start by just kind of taking my fingers and like massaging it in. And then I'll even squeeze and make sure it gets all mixed in there good. And then what I'll do is I do a stretch and fold method to get it all mixed together. Like this. And sometimes I even pinch it again, just kind of work it in. And you'll notice that you'll start getting the dough will start forming more of a ball shape, which is good. The more you work it, the more it'll start getting some structure. And you'll do this for a couple minutes or until the salt is mixed in really well. Okay, then you'll just leave it in the center. Get all the extra off your hand. And then make sure your towel's still damp. If it's not, just re-damp it. And then you'll cover it up and you'll leave it out on the counter for an hour. You'll come back, we'll do some stretch and folds, and we'll go from there. Okay, so it's been about an hour. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do our stretch and folds. So as you can see, the dough kind of gets like soft and moves around, and it kind of expanded in size. So what you'll do is you'll just take a corner, pull up, lay it down in the center. And I just keep doing that all the way around. And eventually the dough starts forming more, and it'll be harder to just pull away, which that's fine, that's how it should be. So I usually do this for 2 to 3 minutes, or I try to count it out and do 24 to 48 stretches and folds, depending on how pliable the dough gets. Sometimes I pull it and bounce it so then it stretches out more. But this process is really important because it breaks up the gluten in your bread and helps it to rise. And as you can see, it's getting harder and harder to pull. It's a good arm workout. Alrighty, last couple, and we'll just bring the dough back to the center, leave it in a ball. So this is what it looks like. We're gonna cover it again, make sure your towel's damp, cover it for an hour. We'll come back. I do the stretch and fold process twice, so in an hour, come back and do it again. When we open it, you'll see it'll look like it started before. So, see you in a bit. Okay, it's been an hour again. We're gonna stretch and fold one more time, and then we're gonna do our bulk rise for it to bake. So same process as last time. You just pull up and down to the center. And again, it's a messy process. There's my grandparents.
Hi.
This is the lady that I learned to bake from, so you can thank her for all your sourdough. Okay, and then we'll cover it back up. And so now we're going to do a bulk rise. It's going to rise for 6 to 8 hours or until it doubles in size. I like using this bowl because I know when it gets up to here, that's when it's done. So we'll be back. It'll be a little while, but we'll be back. I am going to actually put this in the oven We heated up some things today, so the oven's a little warmer than it is outside. So it'll sit in there and bulk rise. And we're back, and our dough is proofed. It was a little warm in the oven, so it didn't quite take 6 hours. So, but as you can see, it's doubled in size, and it's real sticky. So that means you're doing it right, I think. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get a floured surface. You can be generous with the flour. Don't be scared of it.
You guys have good.
And then what you'll do?
My expertise of ice. I'll be at home.
And you'll just flip this out.
Yes. Merry Christmas.
And if you hear it, it'll come. You can hear the air, and it'll all come out. Yay! And I usually just scrape up these sides and make sure I get it all. So that way you're not wasting dough. Okay. Now what you're going to do, I just eyeball it. You can measure if you want to be exact, but you're just going to split it into 2. Sometimes I have bigger loaves than others. That's okay. Got uneven buns.
So uneven.
That's how I feel about my dough sometimes. Uneven.
And then you just, see, this is why the silicone mat is a little tricky sometimes. So if you just flour a surface, it's better. But you just stretch it out like that. Make almost like a square or rectangle. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fold it in 3 layers. And then you're going to take it and you're going to kind of pinch them over and then roll it up. And then what I do, which I don't know if this is sanitary, but I don't know why not, because it's just flour and water anyways. I just dip my hands in there, and then I roll my dough. And what you're going to do is you're going to push away and then take your hand underneath and pull back. And if it starts getting sticky, you just add more flour. And I got air bubbles, so that means that it's proofed and good. That means you're going to have air bubbles in your bread. Okay, and then you just pick it up, and I just put it in a regular bowl, and eventually I pop my air bubbles sometimes, or else they look a little weird in baking. So what I'll do with those is I'll take my rag, I'll wet it again, I'll lay it over the top once I roll this one into a ball, and then I'll put that over the top of both of them. I'll cold proof it. I'll turn my oven on with my Dutch oven in it, and it'll go to 450. So you're going to preheat your oven with your Dutch oven in it. And then when it's all heated, or like 30 minutes to an hour of them cold proofing, I'll start baking. You can also cold proof throughout the night. Just leave it in your fridge. You can honestly cold proof for 48 hours, but the longer you cold proof, I don't think it rises as well in the Dutch oven. So keep that in mind. But we will throw these in the oven, and we'll preheat our oven with our Dutch oven in it, and then we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, we are back. Our oven is at 450, and our Dutch ovens, we're preheating in there. So all we're going to do is, we have some interesting looking Dutch ovens, but you make do with what you got. Okay, so you'll put your one piece in, and that kind of got stuck. That's okay. And you will put your lid on top of that one. And you kind of got to work quick so your oven doesn't lose all its heat. And you'll put this one in. And some people score them beforehand. You can totally do that, or you can not. It's your sourdough bread. You do with it what you want. Okay, you'll set a timer for 25 minutes with the lid on. 25 minutes is up. I'll come back. I'll take these lids off, bake them for another 25 minutes, and then they're done.